The O'Reilly Factor from L.A. is on tonight.
Don't talk to us like we stupid. Don't talk to us like we ignorant. We love our children like you love yours. Lock them up.
That was Al Sharpton convicting George Zimmerman of murder back in March 2012. Now a new study by MIT exposes Sharpton and others for exploiting the killing of Trayvon Martin. We will have full details.
Ask not what your country can do for you, but
what your country can do for you.
No, that's what I said.
Jesse Waters on President's Day, and a new survey by Newsweek saying most Americans know very little about their country. We'll tell you what's going on.
The president runs this vast country from the Kremlin. So here we are.
Inside the Grand Kremlin Palace.
Come with us up the very same steps into the heart of Vladimir Putin's government.
Also tonight, charges that NBC and other American news outlets are actually being unfair to Putin and Russia. Charles Krauthammer on that. Caution, you are about to enter the no spin zone from California. Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. We are out here in Los Angeles for our yearly visit. We have some very interesting stuff for you this week. The Talking Points memo this evening, why many Americans know very little about their own country. You may remember on Election Day last November, I said that America is a changing nation, which is why President Obama had a fairly easy time winning re-election. The dishonest liberal media took that as a lament, that I was whining about the election results. That was a lie. I was simply reporting, giving you the facts about a dramatically changing America. A recent study by Newsweek asked 1,000 U.S. citizens to take the same test that is given to foreigners who want to become American citizens. By the way, about 92% of citizenship applicants pass that test. So immigrants do well, but we the people do not. Among U.S. citizens, 29% could not name the vice president, Joseph Biden. 43% were unable to define the Bill of Rights. 40% do not know America fought Japan and Germany in World War II. 40%. 73% do not know communism was the main concern of the Cold War. And 67% of American citizens do not know that our economic system is capitalism. That's a disaster. So what's going on? It's quite clear that the public school system is a main culprit. It's no longer teaching history, geography, or civics in an effective way. I'm generalizing. I know there are some good schools, but most public schools could not care less about instructing young Americans how their country works. Number two, the internet has created a generation of self-absorbed, addicted, distracted, and ignorant people. The powerful machines, handheld many of them, are diverting a lot of Americans away from real life. You can now create your own world on the net devoid of reality, and millions of Americans are doing that. The result is that a very few shrewd people are now wielding enormous power. Many Americans are now voting for what they can get, not for what is best for this nation. And both the Republican and Democratic parties know it. Therefore, we are a country in decline, primarily because 320 million American citizens aren't paying attention. They do not seem to be interested in the welfare of their country. They are primarily interested in their own welfare. Once again, I'm generalizing, and I have a caveat. I'm not pandering here. Those of you watching this broadcast right now are most likely not in the ignorant category. You are taking the time to watch a news program to get information and analysis. But if you add up all the Americans who watch TV news and read the newspaper, it is a minority, not a majority. Finally, with the internet now dominating American life, the situation will most likely get worse. One last stat. According to a poll by the McCormick Tribune Freedom Museum, just 25% of Americans can name more than one of the 5 freedoms the First Amendment guarantees. They are speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition for the redress of grievances. Again, just 25%, okay, could name more than one of those. But more than half of Americans can name at least 2 members of the Simpsons cartoon family. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, reaction. Joining us from Washington, Mary Catherine Ham and Juan Williams, both are Fox News analysts. So it's kind of bleak out there, Juan. Am I correct?
I want to hold my head. Look, I couldn't agree more. And when you said that people on this internet are ignorant and self-absorbed, I just said, thank God for O'Reilly. Let him say it, because it's true. But, you know, if you say these things, people may get offended. But it's outrageous. And there's a real consequence here, Bill. If people don't know what's in the Constitution, how do you then stand up for your constitutional rights? If people don't understand what's going on with our politics, if they're not watching, reading, listening, essentially they're ceding their own power. And I run into this, there are arguments over, oh, I'm a creationist. I don't believe in science. I'm thinking, what? Or people say to me, oh, it's just my belief. That's the way I think. I think you should be interested in scientific inquiry and knowledge. That's nothing against God.
Well, there is a poll that says about 49%, I think it is, don't understand that human beings evolved from not lesser, but from other creatures. But
from other creatures,
that's another poll. That's a scientific thing. I want to stay on civics here. Now, Mary Catherine, here's the anomaly. We have record voting turnout in the presidential elections. We have a lot of people going to the polls. And so that would say, well, they are interested in their country. They do want to participate in democracy, yet they don't know a thing. How do you explain that?
Well, no, I think people do want to participate. I do think a lot of times people are not as informed as everybody would like them to be. I mean, frankly, a federal judge in Virginia last week got the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution mixed up in a ruling, which was got quite a lot of coverage. So I'm not sure I am so surprised about other folks getting these kind of things wrong. And I think it's important for all of us to educate ourselves. And I think there can also be a little bit of a backlash to education problems where people take to homeschooling or they take to charter schools or private schools to sort of circumvent what's going on in public schools when it's not working for them. And no, it's not about learning creationism at home. It's about learning math at home or learning science at home when they don't feel like they're getting what they need in the schools that they've been assigned to.
But again, that's a different issue. The issue of at least knowing how to write and how to spell and how to do math. That's a different issue than your country. But what I'm trying to get at is when you have an uneducated populace, and you see this in the third world one, the charlatans can come in and gain tremendous amount of power by just bamboozling people, just gross propaganda. All right. Now, many accuse President Obama and his crew of doing that. All right. Pandering, giving, entitlements, spending, buying votes. And I'm not going to get into that right now, all right? I think there's some of that on both sides.
Thank you.
But it's a danger coming with this internet. This internet is overwhelming people.
The internet is a gift. I'm not going to have you two defaming the internet. The internet is one of the greatest gifts to mankind ever, where you can find any kind of information you want at any time. Now, you have to take the energy to find that information, but it's all out there for you in its base form where you can find it in ways that you never were able to before.
If you harness it to learn, you are correct. That is not what is happening, Mary Catherine.
But that opportunity is there for so many people that it wasn't there for before.
It's not what's happening.
No, it does matter because many of them are availing themselves of it. Go ahead, Juan.
Thank you. I just think that Mary Catherine is right. And Bill, you're right. If you use it to gain knowledge, it's great. But what happens, Mary Catherine, is people use it really to just dive into things that they think about, believe in. They become trapped into little niche groups, and they exclude people who disagree with them. They exclude new information. What you see is that people become, to use Bill's earlier description, self-absorbed. They become like targeted, and they don't want to hear anything else. And they are in a community of people who are like-minded, like-thinking, and at some point it becomes destructive. And when you don't know, as the polls indicate, that Joe Biden's the vice president, when you don't know that capitalism is our basis of our economy, to me, you're lost. And I can't help but think that
Yeah.
people
Those
are
are
watching
problems.
that as
Also-
entertainment.
All right, I'm going to give Mary
Joe
Catherine the last
Joe
word.
Biden- Joe Biden-
wait
Joe
a
Biden,
minute,
by the
Mary
way, is-
Catherine,
Yes.
I got to pose a question because you only have 30
Go ahead.
seconds left. You are very, very wrong, and you are also reflecting your generation. Okay. When
Yeah,
they
because I'm
came
well
up
informed
with-
and
when
I
they
use the
came
internet
up with-
all day long.
When they came
I actually
up with
speak quite well for
morphine,
my generation.
It was a good thing. All right, well, you say what you want. The polls and the surveys say quite something else. When they came up with morphine, it was a great thing. It was a painkiller. It allowed people
Everything
to survive.
can be abused. I agree with you.
That's right, but it morphed
Joe Biden,
on
by the way,
over.
is one of the most internet-covered vice presidents of all time. So how do you explain the gap in knowledge
but
if
if you're
everybody's on the internet all
texting
the
your
time
li-
and they're getting junk Biden all day?
Because if you're texting your life away, as many people are, you're not on those sites. All right, I got to
I'll
go,
text
guys.
you about
Thanks
it
for the good
later.
debate.